It's my 20-week bump date. This calls for a celebration. This week the baby is the size of a mango and he is almost a whole pound. Here's that bump. That thing is really poppin'. I'm 20 weeks, which means I'm halfway there. I had my anatomy scan this week and boy did they give me a lot to worry about. Hey guys, and welcome to my slightly late 20-week bump date. I am getting pretty close to 21 weeks, but I really wanted to film this after my anatomy scan, which was on Friday, the day that my bump date usually goes up. And then every day has just been crazy ever since then, so I'm a little bit late, but I'm excited to do my 20 weeks because that means I am halfway there, and I am so excited. It's definitely time to start counting down. Also, we are sitting in a new background for this bump date. I'm usually sitting in my chair over there, but I thought let's switch it up. So the baby is supposedly about 6.5 inches long, so he's getting big, and he weighs about 12 ounces, and that is actually what they gave me at the anatomy scan. He's very, very close to a whole pound, which is kind of crazy. Like, I feel like as they start gaining more pounds, they start to become like a real baby. Oh, I forgot to weigh myself. Hang on, I gotta go weigh myself. Alright, as far as my weight gain, like I've said in the past, I've almost literally gained no weight as of 20 weeks, but I did weigh myself just a few minutes ago, and I think I have gained 2 pounds, and I weighed myself about 3 days ago, and I saw that I was about 1.5 pounds, so I think I'm about 2 pounds, which is good. I'm definitely glad I'm gaining, but I also just want to, you know, keep it slow. We don't need to gain a ton of weight, but I'm excited that I was able to wait till 20 weeks to start gaining. As far as my symptoms, I definitely feel like a lot of things have eased up as of 20 weeks. I feel like I'm definitely not as sick, although if I smell something, I definitely have a very sensitive nose. There was something in our fridge that I knew it wasn't rotten, but it just was something that smelled so disgusting to me that I was determined I had to figure it out, because this morning I opened up my fridge and I smelled that thing that's not rotten, but I didn't like it and I threw up. And so I had to find it, and I actually found it. It was a mixed berry cream cheese, and I feel really bad because Brian doesn't know I threw away his cream cheese. Don't tell him. But I literally threw up just from the smell of it, and it wasn't rotten, it wasn't bad, it wasn't expired, it just, every time I opened up the fridge I was like, that smells disgusting, what is it? And I finally found the culprit, so it's out of here. As far as cravings, I'm definitely craving a lot of cheese and definitely staying away from like sugars and stuff. I really am not craving like cookies and sweets like I normally do. I'm more on the savory side. I want to eat cheese and like steaks and like yummy food instead of sweets, which is definitely different for me. But I'm constantly hungry and I just don't ever have enough food in this house. I think the one thing that I really need to start working on is actually eating more. I really only eat breakfast, a small lunch, and then dinner. And I think it's really affecting me because I'm really hungry, but nothing sounds good, and if something does sound good, I usually don't have it in my house, and when I go to the store, I just can't think of anything to eat. So I really need to start eating more, and I think that's part of my problem. Actually, I honestly probably only snack on like a little bit of cheese throughout the day. I have like these little cheese bites that I like really love. They're just yummy. But yeah, it's definitely weird because I just feel like I'm hungry all the time, but yet I just can't find anything to eat. I have exciting news. I have been stressing slightly about the movement of this baby. I feel like I haven't felt him, and even when I did feel him, I'd be like, I think I felt him. I don't know. That was so random and weird. It just didn't feel like how it should feel. And it was crazy because we actually went to Portland right as I turned 19 weeks, and I was like, I really hope, you know, I start feeling this baby. And I was laying in bed one night and I put my hand on my belly and I felt the baby kick from the outside of my belly on my hand, but I did not feel the baby kick inside my belly. I was like, what? Is that even a thing? So I quickly Googled it, and I discovered that it can be a thing if you have an anterior placenta, which means that the placenta is basically placed right, like here's the baby, here's the placenta, and then here's your belly. So it kind of serves as like a cushion, so it can be more difficult to feel the baby early on. And I was like, that is what it is. And there were actually cases of women saying, my husband felt the baby from the outside before I felt the baby inside. And I was like, that's what happened. And then literally my friend put her hand on my belly and she felt the baby kick and I did not. My husband did it, he felt the baby kick and I did not feel him inside. And I was like, I can bet money that I have an anterior placenta. And then basically after like maybe 1 or 2 days of that actually happening, I started feeling the baby kick. I started feeling him constantly, and now I feel him all the time, especially when I'm laying down or I'm not moving. But it's just really encouraging because I was just really looking forward to actually feeling him move inside me, and it's definitely happening now. And I can feel it inside and I can feel it on the outside as well. It's very, very light and very subtle, and I think that it was different for a while because I was so used to Oliver's kicks being so strong and hard that I think it just like caught me off guard. I was like, this is so light and subtle. But anyways, I was determined that I had an anterior placenta, and I was interested to find out if I had one at my anatomy scan, which I had this week, and so I'll tell you about that in just a second. This week I did something really exciting and I had a prenatal massage, which was really fun for me because I always really wanted one when I was pregnant with Oliver, and I never did. Whether it was just finances or time, or I just didn't really feel like it was necessary, I never got one, and I wished I had so much. I think it was part of like my resolution for the next pregnancy was to get prenatal massages, and I had one this week and it was so nice. It felt like a real prenatal massage. I just laid on my side and it was just like really comfortable, and I felt him kick as I was getting a massage, and it just felt really good to just sit, relax, and not think, and just have like the muscles massaged. Alright, as far as my anatomy scan, I had that on Friday, right after I turned 20 weeks, and I could say I definitely was very nervous for this, but I also felt like everything was going to be good and okay. If you guys don't know, during my second pregnancy at my anatomy scan, that was when I told that my baby had passed, and so anatomy scans definitely tend to be very nerve-wracking, and really ultrasounds in general just really put me on edge, and I do not like to go to them. They just stress me out. So you know, obviously first thing I want to see is that heartbeat. I want to see him moving, and that usually calms my fears quite a bit. And it was really fun just getting to basically watch him for a whole hour, and he flipped and moved so much. It was insane. Oliver definitely moved a ton. I mean, he kicked and moved all the time, but one thing he did not do was he did not flip around. He never really was head up. He never really was transverse. He was always head down throughout the entire pregnancy. And I definitely can say that that was because I had a septum. He didn't really have a lot of room to do a lot of flips and turns, even in the early stages. It was definitely interesting to watch this baby literally do flips and turns all over my belly. And I was feeling it too. I felt him, you know, his head was down and then his head was up, his head was transverse, his head was over here. I mean, he was doing somersaults, and it was definitely totally different for me, and it was just really fun to see him so active and feel him as I was watching him. So we did a lot of looking at all of his different parts, including his brain and his heart and his kidneys and all of his different organs inside of him. Of course, we also saw the big thing down below, and he is definitely still a boy, 100% a boy, that is for sure. And so anyways, we looked at him basically for a whole hour, and I told her that with Oliver, they did discover that his aortic valve in his heart was slightly larger than it was supposed to be. So she definitely took a very close look at that and took a little bit more time on the heart. And basically later the doctor talked to us about it, and he said from this angle the aortic valve looked totally normal. But from the other angle there were 3 valves, and normally they go biggest to smallest. And so this one was like, let's just say it was like a 6, and then the aortic valve went like 6.4, and then it went to the smallest, which was like, I don't know, a 3, let's just say. So as you can see, this one was just slightly larger than the first one, and he said that isn't normal, and they checked it from another angle as well, and it was also slightly larger. So it was very interesting to see basically that his aortic valve is slightly larger, just like Oliver's was. So I will be making a appointment for an echo. We will take a very close look at that. Of course, it is really scary to ever be like told that there might be something wrong, or there might be just something different, or even just using the words, I don't think that there's a blockage in his heart, things like that. It's definitely nerve-wracking, but because this is the exact same thing that happened with Oliver, I feel like it's gonna be okay. And basically with Oliver, they checked it at the echo. They discovered he really did have a slightly larger aortic valve. But then when we went for his echo after he was born, it was completely gone and cleared up and looking fine. So I feel really confident that that's probably going to be the same thing. It's weird that it definitely happened with 2 of my kids, but I feel like it's going to be okay. But they also did see one other thing, and that was that his kidneys were slightly larger than normal. So I think they want the kidneys at like the largest at like a 5 when they measure. And one kidney was like a 5.1 or something like that, just right on that border, and the other one was a 6. So he said they were slightly larger. He really doesn't know what that could be. He says we're definitely going to be taking a look a little bit later on in the pregnancy, closer to like 32 weeks, and we'll get a really good look, and hopefully by then it's either cleared itself up, or, you know, it's not an issue either way. The worst thing that could be happening, he said, is that when he is basically urinating, that some of the pee may actually be going back up, which could cause like infection and stuff like that. So it's definitely something that we need to look at and make sure it's not an issue. He said that it's just slightly at that border of something to worry about, but if it was like getting bigger as he gets bigger and grows and starts developing more, then it will be something that we'll have to really look at. So hopefully by 32 weeks it's cleared up. I feel like it's gonna be okay. They take extra precaution at anatomy scans, and so I'm not like super worried, but obviously anytime they say something might be different or something might be wrong, it does cause for a little bit of concern for the mom and the dad. That is basically it for my 20-week bump date. I'm sorry this was late, but I am excited that I was able to at least get it up, and I should hopefully have my 22-week bump date up on time. So here is my belly. All right, here it is from the front, from the side, from the other side. It's getting so big. Here it is from the front. I think you can still see like a slight dip on this side, but it's really not that noticeable, and I think it's gonna be pretty even. It's pretty well distributed. And then as far as stretch marks, I still don't have any. I started to worry that I was getting a stretch mark right above my belly button piercing, which I have like a little stretch mark right between the belly button piercing and my belly button. But you know, I don't know if it's gonna turn into a stretch mark right above it. It kind of looks like it's coming at an angle, so that'll be interesting to watch and see, but none others as of right now. Alright, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye! Using the Numi Titan, which is by far my favorite wand. Now these are different than regular curling irons because you have more control over how big you want the curls, and I think the curls just look so much better. You'll also need a heat protected glove so you don't burn yourself, which is something I'm notorious for. They usually come with the curling wand. So that's everything you need, but before you begin, you do want to organize your